so much for being here.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, good morning, everyone. So just a sec. The topic that we are going to talk about is crafting a reward and recognition culture using tech and AI. So before starting with this, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Before starting AdvantageClub.ai around now 8 years back and giving my last 8 years of life in trying to make workplaces happier and healthier, in my prior avatar, I did my master's from UCLA, majored in AI back in 2012, before it suddenly became so relevant in this world. And one of the pet peeves that I personally have is when people confuse AI with automation. So in the beginning of the presentation, let's start with an exercise. Well, I'll give you different scenarios, and you have to guess whether it is AI or automation. So if you think it's AI, please raise one hand. If you think it's automation, then please raise two hands. And can we do that? Awesome, great, we have an amazing audience. So the first scenario is an employee engagement platform sends personalized greeting card to every employee, and it also informs their manager about the birthday of the person. Is this AI or automation? One hand for AI, two hands for automation. Great. So I think almost all of you guessed as automation. Some of you followed the suit, but this is absolutely right. Moving on to the next exercise, a platform reminds an employee of another person's birthday, depending on their interactions in the past. Is this AI or automation? Awesome, we have a very smart room here. This is AI. And especially if it personalizes on the basis of interactions that you have really had, and it's not like just they are my teammate and I'm getting a notification. That's automation, but in the true sense, it's this AI. The next one, the most used brand start coming on top on a redemption marketplace of a reward and recognition platform or an e-commerce platform. Is it AI or automation? Okay, so it looks like a lot of you decided not to answer this, and who did it wrong. This is not AI, this is automation. Because it is a simple rule, like the most used brand is coming on top, so it's not really an AI, it's just a counter which is counting which is being used more, and that's coming on top, and that's not AI. This can be AI if it is made smarter, but not just on the bare minimum qualification. Now, an employee recognition platform assists a manager in writing a better message. This is awesome, awesome, great, great. Now, the last one. So when you talk about Bali to a friend, all your social media feeds start showing Bali. First of all, how many of you are afraid of this? Yeah. So this is, of course, AI. I'll not ask this. This has been happening to us since last 12 years, 10 years. Before AI became a buzzword, everyone knew this is AI, and this is the scariest usage of AI, completely invasion of our privacy. But now let's move on to the fun stuff on the employee engagement side. We have all heard about these terms, baby boomer, Gen X, millennial, Zoomer, and maybe the next generation, Gen Alpha. I hope a lot of us retire by the time they come to workforce. And let us look at it, how these guys think about job and what are their needs according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So first generation, baby boomer, who came into the job typically in the mid-1940s to 1960s, they went to job for survival. This is the generation who went to job to feed their family. And they were the most thankful generation just to have a job. And they work for survival. Next generation is Gen X. They work for job security. So the companies which provided job security back in 1980s, 1990s, then all the people between 1965 to 1980 really valued that. And that's what people cared the most about. The next generation, millennials, where I also belong to, we really care about belongingness. So like before starting AdvantageClub.ai, I worked for Microsoft, Amazon, and Oracle in different parts of the world. But what really mattered to me was whether my voice is heard, whether I have a say in the decision making or not, what is happening in the organization. Now the fun generation, Gen Z, like JC also said, this is a generation which doesn't care about A lot of things that we all did, like they don't care about security, they don't care about survival. They know they have options. They can survive by maybe becoming a TikTok influencer instead of doing a 9 to 5 job. And this audience need importance for doing their job. And that is very hard for, at times, baby boomer and Gen X to understand why someone needs to be thanked for doing their job. But this is the world we live in, and if you look at the way Gen Zs are brought up, you'll probably find answers there. A lot of us have our party to that entire contribution and how this happened. A typical Gen Z has 4 graduation ceremony before they actually graduate. Versus that a millennial like me, I only had 1 graduation ceremony at UCLA, and no one in my family showed up. My dad basically said, we paid your fees, you got the admission, you're not dumb enough that you'll not pass. Then why should we attend your graduation ceremony? Why is it special? Then the next generation is Gen Alpha. This is probably the future if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where people will start looking at jobs as a way to fulfill the purpose of their life. So hence, lot of organizations today, and at a CEO level, it was always the scenario. People always spoke about the bigger vision than what they are doing. But at an org level, it is becoming part of DNA, where people are trying to highlight the bigger purpose why an organization exists and not just the product. Like, for example, for us as well, AdvantageClub.ai, we believe we are making workplaces happier and healthier, and we are not just a reward and recognition tool. So this will become more and more common. Some of the early heads-ups is already visible when we spoke to a lot of TA teams. People care about what is the purpose of the organization, whether it is impacting environment in a positive way or not, how are we contributing. So this will probably become the future as we move ahead. Until the time we get there, let's make our life easier by doing more rewards in general. So as we have already established, an employee reward and recognition is an important tool for driving different behavior culture within the organization. Then let's look at what are the 4 different types of reward and recognition which is most popular across the industries, across the world. First is culture-based recognition. This is practically synonymous to reward and recognition in today's world. Like when you think about reward recognition, if you go and ask any HR, you'll think about spot awards, you'll think about peer-to-peer award. All of that fall under culture-based recognition. Second is performance-based recognition. I'm sure most of you have sales employees, customer care team who has to deliver on a particular quality, have to hit certain KPI numbers. And this is where performance-based reward/recognition comes into play. Third is flexible benefits. So in Philippines, government is kind enough to have policies where you can give a part of a person's salary in form of medical benefits or mobile benefits. And that kind of falls into flexible benefit category. And fourth is moments that matter. These are the moments which are special for an employee's life, and you have to celebrate that as part of rewards and recognition. Now moving on to the first layer, which is culture-based rewards. So for any culture-based rewards to be successful, the first and foremost thing is to have a good policy. Now let me demystify some of these information for you. Like we get a lot of questions around what should be budget? What should be the budget of reward and recognition? So typical thumb rule is to have budget between 1.5 to 4% of a total people's salary in your reward and recognition kitty. And we're talking about fixed salary, not the variable. And depending on the seniority of the person, this percentage can go down or high. Like for a senior member, it might be 1.5% of their salary, but for a junior entry-level person, it might be 4% of their salary, which is typically composite of a good reward and recognition budget. Secondly, one of the common questions we asked that how many people should be recognized in a year? What's a good yardstick? Again, the general math there is that for all your monetary awards, 35 to 55% people should be recognized. And if you also put in non-monetary as well, then 55 to 75% people should be recognized in a year. And if you're doing less than 35, then probably you're doing it influencing less number of people. And if say end up giving it to 90%, then it's kind of losing its value. So those are the basic thumb rules what you've seen in the market as trend, and luckily as AdvantageClub.ai, we have visibility to 1,000 companies running reward and recognition and what kind of impact they make. The second important part for any reward and recognition is real-time recognition. So we live in an era in which we get food delivered in 10 minutes. Nobody wants to wait 8 months or 9 months to be appreciated for a good project that they have done or a good work they have done. And that's why making reward and recognition real-time is very, very important. And that's something which is again, newer generation really crave for. They want instant gratification. They don't have patience to wait for some time later to really be appreciated for that. And anyways, appraisals are a very complicated process where focus is more on whether I got 8% or 10%, not really on what I did well and what I did not do well. The third, in today's era, reward and recognition have to be personalized. Like if you're recognizing to someone, it's great to say thank you. But what is more powerful is that if you can cover, okay, you did X, which impacted Y, and this is how it helps you and the organization in the future, or some personalized words if you can say about the person, then that has more impact. And if you want to maximize the impact of your recognition, other important aspect is to make the recognition more social. Like recognize people in front of their peers. Like I always tell all my managers, and a lot of them are first-time managers, that recognize in public, criticize in private. Because as an individual, if you're recognized in public, then that impact gets magnified. But suppose if you're criticized in public, then you get actually more defensive. You are not really trying to learn or listen. And that's why it's important that you kind of recognize in public and criticize in a closed room so that you can actually have a discussion on that. Now, moving on to the performance-based recognition, this is something very common. I'm sure almost 70 to 80% of you would offer it somewhere or the other to different set of population. But what is interesting in today's world is to actually being able to digitize this. I met so many salespeople in their life who are getting X amount of incentive, and they don't know how they're getting X amount of incentive. And if they don't know X amount of why they're getting the incentive, how will they achieve a KPI? So it's very important that you implement tools where as a sales employee, I can exactly see what are my KPIs, where I am, what all I can do, and a good tool can even do a prediction for you that this is the number that you are about to hit in a particular quarter or month, and ideally send you nudges to improve the top line as well. So if HR professionals, if we can implement something like this and create an impact, this will directly impact the revenues of the company, and that can be a big use case as we get more seat on the table. The third is flexible benefit. So in a flexible benefit kind of scenario, it's very important to give them flexibility in true sense that if you're running, say, a medical benefit or a device benefit, it's important that employee can go and buy anything. One way of doing that is to make a reimbursement-led model, but they have proven to be ineffective all across the globe. I have never met a reimbursement model which has more than 30-40% usage till now. And that's why making it cashless is essential, that you give people flexibility to what they exactly want and make it also cashless. Then next is moments that matter. Now for everyone, like occasions like birthday, work anniversaries are different. Like if I talk about birthdays across generation, when I talk about my father, he doesn't care about his birthday. For me, birthday is a day affair. But for a Gen Z, it's not birthday. It's birth week, it's birth month. And if you are not part of that, then you're really missing out an important aspect of their life. So that's why it's important that you celebrate moments that matter in a right way. Now let's talk about how AI can help you in reward and recognition and culture. What are some of the practical use cases that companies like us have seen and across organization? First, we spoke about personalization. So this is an area a good trained LLM model can help you personalize the messages that anyone is writing. It can empower someone who's not maybe that verbose in writing. There are a lot of people who just say, good job, who just say, thank you, who don't like to elaborate. But AI can do that for you. They can take the keywords from such people or for everyone and make the messages more interactive for the end user. The second, it can help you drive redemption because there's no point of giving a reward unless it's redeemable. So like companies like us, we take a lot of pride that especially like worldwide, we have 90% redemption, but I personally love Philippines. Here our redemption rates are typically between 96 to 98%, which is better than anywhere else in the world as well. The third is driving higher engagement. So AI can do nudges for you. Like let's take an example. Suppose I have a team member, Vanessa. So say she gave me a badge 10 days back, today it's work anniversary, maybe you are not interlinked in hierarchy, and AI can remind me that this person gave you a badge 10 days back and today it's their work anniversary. Do you want to wish them? And AI, and if it is built on a good algorithm, then it will not get noisy. The fourth, it can help you keep things fresh. One of the biggest use case of AI or Gen AI is to be able to create dynamic content. And in a reward and recognition, what that really means is that you can create new badges, you can create new banners, new certificates, it's very important to keep it fresh. On that note, I'll also introduce one of our AI tool, Adva, which basically does all these 4 things. And that is something we have built over last 1.5 years or so as Gen AI started coming to the world. The first use case is personalization, where say I'm awarding a person Ryan, I'm selecting a good job badge to give to them. Now as I'm writing, I was a little stingy and just wrote, congrats, you did a good job on the project. But the Gen AI, which is a personally trained LLM model on our platform, actually improved the message for them. And now Ryan got a more verbose message, which is more impacting for them. The second is the nudge-led behavior, where you can do nudges for different things. The first use case is that suppose you have not appreciated since last 12 days, you usually do it every week. An AI can send you a nudge for that. People can drive redemption. It can tell you that you have X number of points left. And what it can really do is to understand what you respond to and personalize the nudges accordingly. And third, it can recommend brands to you. Suppose you use Lazada more than others. An AI platform can identify that. And it can also build in seasonalities, like festive season is there. So it can take into multiple parameters and run the program accordingly. And the fourth is creating new badges. Like here we are creating well-done badges, and it created 8 badges. Now you don't need to go to graphic designers and start asking for the time from them. You can create your own content. You don't need anyone's help in reading that. Now moving on to why recognition really matters. So if you drive reward and recognition, the people who receive recognition, they are 4x more engaged. We have ourselves done studies across more than 5 million users, 100 countries, 1,000 clients, where people who are recognized, their retention rate is 55% better than the people who are not recognized. So let me repeat. So basically, if you recognize someone, you are increasing the chances of them staying in the organization for the entire year by 55%. And this gets even better. So if someone is recognized by their manager, as well as their peer, then their retention rate improves by 78%. And if you look at the cost side, replacement of a person, according to a Gallup study, it costs you 11 months. In certain studies, it says 6 months to 8 months, but we are all in the HR world. We know it's hard to replace good folks and getting the same business output out of them. So you can actually measure the ROI if you do this properly. Other than that, a good reward and recognition, a good culture can help you improve your employer branding by 84%. And employer branding is like an undercurrent. If you get this right, you will see everything becoming better in terms of TM. You'll start seeing more applicants to your job portal. You'll start seeing better conversion. You'll start seeing more people staying back in the organization. So that's why it's important to build the right culture, and that can be a big selling point as you go to your CEOs. I know all the HR professionals don't really need any data on this. They already know this is important, but this is to sell to the other executive members that how does this impact the numbers. Now let's look at the video. So the first video is about Maria, who got awarded the Best Actor at Asia Artist Awards in 2023, and she gave an inspirational speech. The next one is about Carlos, who won 2 gold medals for your country, and he was facilitated by the president himself because he did amazing for the team Philippines. The next one is for June Mar Fazzardo, who got the Governors Cup's Best Player of the Conference Award. And if you look at what is common between all of them, they all are heroes of their own teams. So, and they are getting recognized at different fields. So it's about time that we all start recognizing our heroes as well. And our heroes are, of course, our employees. Thank you.